lime plaster finishing technique that comes from Morocco, and specifically the region of Marrakesh in Morocco. What Tadelakt is it's a super rich plaster. Rich meaning it has a very high proportion of lime to aggregate or sand. And so Tadelakt was the first plaster I ever came across where you actually broke the rules and put more lime than sand in the finish. And it turns out that the stuff that I'm doing ends up being about 60% lime to 40% sand. And it was developed by people called the Berbers, who were like probably the original indigenous people of North Africa. And what they discovered, and other people discovered this as well, there's also a tradition in other parts of the Middle East of being able to apply olive oil soap or some type of soap to lime plaster to get it to be waterproof. So, how much to spritz? This tile can spritz pretty good. See how when I spritz it, it looks wet and the water's gone almost immediately. So you definitely don't want liquid water on the surface when you're spritzing it. You're just sort of.
Can you speak up a little bit? I'm sure.
You're just putting water kind of into the tile a little bit to get it to get the Tadelakt to stick really well, but you don't want to saturate it. Apply the first coat with a sponge, and the reason for that is that you want that first coat to be, we're going to put it on in like at least 2 layers, so you want that first coat to be kind of rough, kind of toothy, and I've just found that it's easier to put it on with the sponge in the first place than put it on with a trowel and then go back and sponge it. So when we do walls and stuff, we do it with a sponge and we put it on. See how rough mine is? See how sandy it is?
Yeah.
If you worked it too much with the sponge, like I can see that one over there is a little bit on the smooth side. So you could add a little bit more and try and, but you can feel on this tile here, it's already drying up. You know, I can already almost not get my fingernails into it. For these little tiles, I use something like this that kind of goes in place of a hawk. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah, it's really precious. This is actually a Venetian plastering spatula where they put it on with a little. So my next step, and I use a little Japanese trowel like this, is now I'm going to lay it on and get my kind of eventual thickness that I want. And I'm trying, on this step, my goal is to get a pretty even coat over the whole surface. And I'm not trying to make it smooth. I don't care about that right now. You have to work kind of hard to make the corners, to fill the corners up, because you always want to pull mud off the corners. So,
and you don't have to worry about overworking it?
you shouldn't overwork it. So you can see here, all I have to do is like 1 or 2 strokes on it to get it. If you sit there and overwork it, then what you're going to do is you're going to push the sand grains to the bottom and pull the lime to the top, effectively separating the coat of plaster. And inevitably, you're going to have all kinds of ugliness on the sides because that's just the way it goes. So I take my trowel and kind of cut it back so it's nice and clean on the edges. Okay, and so then this is the next step in the process, is the wood floating. And you wait for it to dry enough to where you can really work it with the wood float. What I'm trying to do now is smooth the whole thing out so it's really nice and smooth.
Can you do that with the wood float? You smooth with
No,
the wood
the
floor?
smoothing comes with
The Japanese trowel.
And what I like to do
There
is
was
actually kind of use the trowel to style these edges out a little bit. And then you can, you're still in good shape somewhat. So you can work that with the trowel.
Oh, there's that guy.
Try to get it as nice
What's his
as
name?
possible.
Chad or my?
I can bring it really smooth with the stone if I'm working at the right time and stuff. And that's what you were talking about. You can move that cream into those pockets. And the thing about the stone is you're able to put so much pressure on such a small area that you can really kind of work it. But when you're stoning it, if you're moving the plaster around at all, it's a little bit too early. And here you can see I'm able to make swirlies on the surface of the plaster, which means it's too early to stone. But I'm okay with that because I know that if I do this, it's going to save me a little bit of labor down the road when it's probably harder and I don't have as much time. That's the thing, is when to soak, and that's the other crux of Tadelakt work. Most of the time, soaking doesn't happen until the next day. But in these tiles, that might be a little too early. So this class was going on.
I wouldn't be the guy to ask.
We would probably have time to soak. Very crucial timing wise. If you do it too late, you don't get the chemical waterproofness. If you do it too early, the soap mixes with the lime on the surface and makes it pushed out there. One of the tricks I learned in Morocco is they actually, when they have a big wet spot on the wall, they take newspaper and stick it on there, and the newspaper soaks the water out of it. Which was just, to me, it was just like revolutionary, like tears in your eyes. Like, oh my God, I can't believe
An epiphany.
these people are so advanced.
Right.
This is amazing.
Who would have ever thought of that?
But now one of my most important tools is a roll of paper towels.
Yeah.
So I have two options now. I can either put a little more mud on with the wood float or just scour some more in. Or I can spritz it and try to bring it back to life. If you offered me $2,000 for this, I would not sell it to you. Because this is the ultimate Tadelakt stone. And what makes it ultimate is that it's got a flat side and it's reasonably easy to hold in your hand for hours and hours. And it's hard and it's super smooth. For a flat face? Almost all of the good Tadelakt stones I've ever found have come from rock shops. And basically what you want to do is just go into a rock shop and find stones that seem like the right size and shape. And then there's, in geology, there's what's called the Mohs hardness scale, which is the way that they grade how hard minerals are. And I think it goes from 0 to 10 or something like that. But you want one that's 7 or above. If it's lower than that, it can leave marks on your Tadelakt. And obviously all of these stones are polished, tumbled in some way. So they need to be polished. If you have little decorative stones, you can make a little mosaic or whatever, or you can just throw it on the street. But
See what lands in it.
you know, what you do is you stick things in the surface, and obviously it can't be bigger than the thickness. But you can take your stone and you can knock it in. If anybody has any little fancy things they want to put, this was a little big, but there you go. That's a little big. But then you just stone around it, fill in the edges.
And we can do that while
Yeah, I
we're...
think everyone's in a good place with their tiles that they can sort of just hang out.
Yeah, okay.
A bunch of stoners
So-
sitting around.
That's right.
Probably won't remember any of this.